I guess it starts with your education. And I'll just state I loved school. I was a damn good student and did well in school. Helped encourage me to shoot for higher things. But I graduated from Harvard College in 1951, Magna in American History and Lit, which was a relatively new major at Harvard in a restricted grouping. There was collegiality amongst the students and the faculty involved, and it was a very exciting major. I went to Harvard Business School immediately thereafter, no break in between, and graduated in '53 as a Baker Scholar. Did well there. I had to make a decision. Did I want to go into teaching, or did I want to go into business school teaching? I had a number of offers, or go into the academic, or go into the work world. And an opportunity arose to join Carl M. Loeb Rhodes and Company, which was an august family-owned merchant banking firm in New York, connected to the world, a very exciting place to work. And I took that opportunity. That was something I couldn't turn down. And I had 2.5 years of just great learning experience, involved in many things, from new issues to stock analysis. I managed the library for them. I was one of the editors of their weekly reports and their monthly edition, monthly communications to stockholders and the like. And a vast variety of things that was done, and it was a good experience. But an opportunity arose. I had a wife that I married just after I joined who hated both the investment banking world and what it did to me and the work it took, and living in New York City. She was from Long Island. Her family, extraordinary group of people, had 2 individuals that I loved, the grandfather and her uncle, who was about 10 years my senior, Hilly Cohen, and he was Arthur Cohen. They were turning a wholesale grocery operation, one of the very first, into a retail operation, a series of retail stores, after Hilly got back from the war. They were looking for the financing for another 10 stores, and I think they had 17 at the time. Well, maybe it was less, I don't remember. At any rate, I arranged a $5 million loan for them with Guardian Life through Carl M. Loeb Rhodes. And shortly after taking down the loan and knowing how it was going to be committed, Arthur died, the grandfather died. It was a terrible blow to Hilly, who wasn't really sure what he wanted to be, a professional golfer, or what. He'd had his divorce and the like. But you couldn't keep this guy out of it. I knew it shortly thereafter, because he was one of the strongest merchants our industry has ever seen. He was a good man and a great leader, and an entrepreneurial type. And he and I hit it off just beautifully. He had already done so as family, and then possibly as business associates. So I joined Hilly. I left Loeb Rhodes. I was able to move my wife out to Long Island, for which she has never finished thanking me, and into a world that she liked much better. And I guess I did too. I fell in love with supermarketing. It was Hill's Supermarkets, was the name of Hilly Cohen, Hilliard Cohen. At any rate, Hill's Supermarkets was one of the fastest growing chains in the United States. It had one of the highest sales per square foot of any chain in the United States, of any group of stores in the United States. It was an exciting place to be, and Long Island was a series of ethnic centers of activity, so that you could vary your stores one for the other and market to them. And Hilly knew how to take a chance. The exciting time was pricing turkeys. Can you imagine? I went from pricing stocks for publication to pricing turkeys. And I felt more involved in pricing turkeys than I ever did in pricing a stock. that's how I got into supermarketing. And Hills went public. Had something to do with that. Sometimes I worried about it. We made a number of acquisitions as we did it. And we then merged with E.J. Corvette, which was the first and largest of the non-food merchants in the country, the discount stores. They had 15 stores that were doing phenomenal volume across, from Chicago to Philadelphia, to New Jersey to New York. And they didn't know how to operate. They were losing their rear end. Gene Fairclough was looking for some answer to that whole question. And I had worked with Gene during the public offering of E.J. Corvette. He knew me and I knew him, and we introduced him to Hilly, and Hilly was his answer. Here was the president of the joint company to get Gene, who was not in any way, shape, or form an organized kind of person, somebody to run the show. And so I ended up as president of the supermarket division, which had increased by that merger by a third when we got to it, with a third of the stores. I mean, it was extraordinary. Had to close for them. They were just too far away. And we left E.J. Corvette after 3 years or 4 years, I think it was, because we just could not live with the structure that was involved, where our rights, Hilly's rights as CEO and mine as chairman, were constantly being changed by both the board and by Gene, just at his will. And we challenged and lost the challenge against 70% of the stock. You know, it was relatively easy to lose. It wasn't 70%, I forget the exact number, but it was control. So we left, and 6 months or 7 months thereafter, we received contact from First National Stores that was looking for a new management team because the board felt its team had gone stale. It was a family team, and wonderful people. Well, the O'Keeffes were a phenomenal family. A number of them stayed with the business even after Adrian, who was chairman, retired, and Hilly took over, and I took over. And I went in as exec VP, Hilly went in as president and CEO, and then chairman of the board, and then I became president after being executive vice president for a number of years. And that's how we got up to the point where somebody could reach out for me as executive vice president of First National Stores and suggest that perhaps I might be interested in an automated front end.